Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's kind of a crazy worlds collide moment for me with Donald Trump saying he's going to hold the funding of the Washington Commanders' new stadium if they don't change their name back to the Washington Redskins. I'll read his Truth Social, then I'll talk about the logo change. Is there any chance it's going to go back? Trump also talking about the Cleveland currently Guardians changing back to the Indians. Trump saying yesterday, my statement on the Washington Redskins has totally blown up, but only in a very positive way. I may put a restriction on them if they don't change the name back to the original Washington Redskins and get rid of the ridiculous moniker Washington Commanders. I won't make a deal for them to build a stadium in Washington. The team would be much more valuable. The deal would be more exciting for everyone. Cleveland should do the same with the Cleveland Indians. And then he later goes on to talk about the owner, Matt Dolan, who has lost 3 elections in a row because of the name change. And I think everyone can agree that the name changes by and large were ridiculous. I mean, how are we scaling outrage when it comes to some of these team names being monikered after Native American tribes? Like the Indians and the Redskins are terrible, but the Braves are fine. I mean, the Blackhawks with their logo is fine. The Florida State Seminoles is fine. It just makes no sense, especially when you look at the Redskins and the fact that there were a lot of Native Americans that were honored by the fact that they were called the Redskins. And then they say, well, how would you like it if a team was called the Whites? I mean, I think the Whites is kind of a decent name for a team. I don't see what the issue is, but they always talk to white people and say, well, how would you feel if they were called the Caucasians? Well, I think the Caucasians as a name is kind of stupid, but I'm not going to get offended by it. To me, it's ridiculous. And this was liberal white people getting angry and trying to, I mean, this was shifting the culture. And remember the 2020 protests, all the riots, they were going full woke. A lot of that stuff's been eliminated. And so now Trump wants to revert the names. And I understand people saying, well, it's a distraction because of the Epstein stuff. And pretty much everything they're doing right now is going to be viewed as a distraction along with the Obama stuff, with the Russian gate and everything like that. But what is Trump talking about when he says withholding funding, possibly not doing a deal with the Commanders to build a stadium? We know they want to build their new stadium, which is going to be a state-of-the-art translucent roof, domed facility that's going to be multi-billion dollars in terms of the cost. They want that stadium to be built at the RFK site, which is in D.C. Right now, RFK Stadium is somehow still kind of standing, but it's in the process of being demolished. It's a long demolition. They're saying almost 2 years in total, and it's going to be demolished by mid to late 2026, with the groundbreaking for the new stadium happening around 2026, possibly in the fall, and then the actual campus project opening, which will be the stadium with the surrounding district area, opening by 2030. They are supposed to have a council vote on approval along with zoning changes happening this summer, and Trump can certainly use his executive power to influence that. So it'll be interesting now. The current new Commanders owner, Josh Harris, has been abundantly clear, and they did recently release new uniforms saying that this is not going to happen. We're staying the Commanders. Me personally, I think if you're going to change your name, I think the Commanders is more of like an arena football team name. The Presidents would have been a great name. I know people don't like that, but it would grow on people, the Washington Presidents. But they're saying they're staying as the Commanders. Everyone bought the new merch. They don't want to go back. Trump, you could say, well, this is a distraction for the Epstein stuff. You could possibly try and flex executive power in terms of the zoning issue within D.C. and parts of the funding package. The Commanders themselves are committing around $2.7 billion, with the district at around $1 billion, so it's almost a 2-to-1 private versus public ratio. The total cost well over $3 billion for this mega project. Would Trump really go so far as to trying to pull the $1 billion from the project, from the commitment by DC to funding it? Or, I mean, I guess we'll have to see how serious he is. It seems like everyone believes, though, this is kind of just a little distraction for people, and it's one of those things to where the name change was very unnecessary, but it's kind of hard to go back now that you've been selling the Commanders merch, you just rebranded the uniforms. So it seems very unlikely. You also had the Cleveland Guardians put out a statement, and I think the Guardians' name is even worse than the Commanders' name. If you're going to change your name, there's other names. I even think the Spiders would have been better than the Guardians. The problem with the Guardians is it's like a 10-year-old like movie with the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like a kiddish name. And the Guardians came out and said, we're not changing it back. We already sold all of our new merch. It's not going to happen. You have to wonder how serious Trump is about this, especially when it comes to the Commanders, because that's the intriguing one with the $1 billion being committed from the city and the city council vote that Trump could potentially influence. They certainly want to build that new stadium as soon as possible. Their current facility is the worst in the NFL, and also their current stadium is in Maryland. It's not even in D.C. They want to go back to D.C. They want to make it happen as soon as possible, which could be as early as 2030. You have to wonder how serious is Trump with potentially holding up this stadium deal when it comes to this naming issue. But I just can't see a way in which, and we can talk about, oh, it's offensive, it's not offensive. It was mainly white liberals that were pushing it. Sure, there were a few Native American groups that did protest routinely, but I think that had more to do with the logos than the names themselves, and it just kind of all bubbled up with all of the cancel culture and all the woke stuff in like 2019, 2020, and it caused the big shifts rather than just change the logos, because the Indians had already previously changed the logo away from Chief Wahoo to just a black C, and then they're like, well, we have to rebrand completely, and then they compound the issue by changing it to the Guardians, which is a kids movie. So you've got that problem, but we'll see how serious Trump is with the D.C. situation. It is funding being committed by the city, and of course they say, well, it's an investment because of the amount of money that's going to be generated, the amount of jobs that are going to be open for people within the city to work at the stadium. It's going to be great because it's an entire area, an entire district is what they always call it, with residential, with commercial. There's going to be offices. It's going to all be in walking distance, and I mean, that's just what DC needs, more traffic, right? But, I mean, they certainly do need a new stadium, whether, I know earlier in the process they were talking about Northern Virginia, they were talking about maybe a different area, a different site in Maryland, and this is really the place to put it when you're talking about DC, because technically RFK Stadium, which was one of the multi-purpose cookie-cutter stadiums, it's still there. I mean, there has been nothing going on at that site. It's just been dormant for over a decade at this point. And so the dilapidated stadium is in the process of a teardown, and we'll see if Trump tries stopping this or putting in some type of stipulation or something to where he makes it an issue, or this might just be one of his distractions because there has been some turmoil within the administration regarding the Jeffrey Epstein saga. That's what a lot of people think this is. But Trump has definitely been vocal about kind of the culture issue in terms of these name changes and wanting to revert it. And again, with DC, it's unique because they are doing a stadium deal with the city, and they signed the lease for 99 years, and so it'll be interesting to see how this ends up playing out. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you like it down below. Also follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.